I need to tell you something that will change everything you thought you knew about money, power, and the divine inheritance written into your very soul. If you were born under the sign of Leo, you did not arrive on this earth by accident. You were sent here with a cosmic blueprint, a spiritual contract that most people will never understand, and a magnetic force inside you that is designed, by divine law, to attract wealth, like the sun attracts every living thing toward its light. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Florence, I've heard this before. I've been told I'm special. I've been told I have potential. But where is the money? Where is the abundance? Why do I feel like I'm clawing and scraping while others seem to glide through life effortlessly? And darling, I understand that frustration because I've walked through the valley of lack myself, and I've seen thousands of beautiful souls trapped in the prison of poverty, consciousness, not because they lack gifts, not because God forgot about them, but because they never learned the one secret that unlocks everything. You see, being a Leo isn't just about astrology. It's not just about personality traits or reading your horoscope in the Sunday paper. Being a Leo means you carry the frequency of royalty in your spiritual DNA. You are a lion, and lions were never meant to beg. They were never meant to shrink. They were never meant to play small or apologize for taking up space. But somewhere along the way, someone told you that wanting wealth was greedy. Someone convinced you that spiritual people should be poor. Someone planted a lie in your subconscious mind, and that lie has been blocking your birthright ever since. The universe is not withholding from you. God is not punishing you. The delay you're experiencing is not evidence that you're unworthy. The delay is simply the gap between what you've been believing and what is actually true about you. And today, right now, in this very moment, we are going to close that gap forever. We are going to dismantle every false belief that has kept you locked out of your own treasure vault. Because make no mistake, there is a vault with your name on it, and it has always been full. You've been standing outside that vault your whole life, rattling the door, begging it to open. You've tried affirmations, vision boards, maybe even prayer, and sometimes it cracks open just enough to let a little light through a small win, a temporary relief, and then it slams shut again. And you tell yourself, see? I'm just not meant for this. Abundance is for other people. People who are luckier, smarter, more deserving. But here's what you don't realize. That vault was never locked. You've been pushing on a door that only opens inward. The entire mechanism of lack is built on a single, catastrophic misunderstanding. You think you need to times earn times your way into abundance. You think you need to prove yourself worthy. You think God, the universe, Source, whatever name you give to this infinite intelligence, is up there with a clipboard, checking off boxes, deciding whether you've been good enough, faithful enough, disciplined enough to receive. Let me tell you something that will shatter that illusion completely. Source doesn't have a clipboard. Source doesn't grade on a curve. Source doesn't reward the worthy and withhold from the unworthy. Source simply times is asterisk. It is an infinite ocean of supply. And you are not a beggar on the shore, you are a wave in that ocean. You are made of the same substance. You are not separate from it, asking for permission to receive. You are it, expressing as you. When I say the treasure vault has your name on it, I don't mean metaphorically. I mean there is a specific current of abundance that flows toward the unique expression of consciousness that is you. Your desires are not random, they are not selfish. They are not tests of your worthiness. They are the universe's way of calling itself, or forward through you. Think about it. Why do you want what you want? Not the surface answer, go deeper. You want financial freedom because you want to feel safe, expansive, generous. You want love because you want to feel seen, connected, whole. You want health because you want to feel alive, vibrant, unrestricted. Every single desire is source, wanting to experience more of itself through your unique lens. And here's what changes everything. When you understand that your desire is divine, you stop apologizing for it. You stop shrinking it. You stop whispering it like it's something shameful. I've watched people confess their dreams like they're admitting to a crime. I know I shouldn't want this, but it's probably selfish, but I feel guilty saying this out loud, but no. Stop it right there. Your desire didn't show up to torture you. It showed up to guide you. It's not a test of your willingness to suffer, it's an invitation to expand. The universe doesn't dangle carrots in front of you just to watch you fail. That's not how Source operates. That's ego talking, fear masquerading as humility. True humility isn't denying what you want. True humility is recognizing that what you want wants you just as much. It's understanding that you're not manufacturing desire out of thin air, you're receiving it. You're the vessel, not the origin. Think about it. You didn't sit down one day and decide, I'm going to torture myself by wanting something I can't have. The desire arose. It found you. And that's because somewhere in the infinite intelligence of the universe, there's a match for it, a reality where it already exists. Your job isn't to convince the universe you're worthy of it. Your job is to align with the frequency of already having it, to become the energetic equivalent of your fulfilled desire. Not through force, not through desperation, but through assumption. Through claiming it in consciousness first. This is where most people stumble. They treat manifestation like begging, like negotiation. Please, universe, if you give me this, I promise I'll be good. I'll be grateful. I'll finally be happy. But the universe doesn't respond to pleading. It responds to assumption, to the quiet, unshakable knowing that what is yours cannot be kept from you, to the faith that moves mountains not through effort, but through certainty. I have seen individuals exhaust themselves in frantic pursuit networking until their souls grew weary, marketing until their message lost all meaning, chasing opportunities that scatter like startled birds at their approach. And I have watched others fewer, yes, but infinitely wiser sit in quiet certainty, knowing their good is already on its way. And it comes. Not because they are more deserving, not because they possess some secret technique, but because they have aligned themselves with the truth of abundance rather than the lie of scarcity. The universe does not reward desperation. It mirrors conviction. When you operate from lack, when you hustle from a place of fear, when you grasp and cling and manipulate, you announce to every force of creation, I do not believe there is enough. I do not trust that what is mine will find me. And the universe, being an obedient servant, arranges circumstances to match that belief. But when you move from fullness, when you work with joy rather than anxiety, when you release rather than control, when you know in your bones that you are already provided for, everything shifts. Doors open. Resources appear. The right people arrive at precisely the right moment. Not through magic, but through alignment. I once knew a woman who had been trying to sell her home for 2 years. 2 years of open houses and price reductions and mounting anxiety. She came to me exhausted, convinced something was cursed, that she was being punished, that she would never be free of this burden. I asked her a simple question. Do you believe your buyer exists? She hesitated, then admitted, I'm afraid no one will ever want it. There it was, the real block, not the market, not the property. Her own hidden belief that she was offering something unwanted, something without value. We worked together to shift that conviction. She began affirming, the perfect buyer exists for this home. They are searching for exactly what I offer. Our meeting is inevitable. She decorated as though her buyer was already on their way. She walked through the rooms, seeing them through eyes of appreciation rather than desperation. Within 3 weeks, she had an offer, full price, from someone who said they had been searching for months for a home exactly like hers. This wasn't coincidence. This was law. The moment she stopped clinging, the dam broke. Her doubt had been the only thing blocking the sale. And once she withdrew her desperate energy, the universe could finally deliver. I see this pattern everywhere. A woman obsesses over a relationship, checking her phone every 5 minutes, analyzing every word he said, wondering why he hasn't called. The moment she releases him, mentally truly releases him, not as a manipulation tactic, but as a genuine surrender, he either returns or someone far better appears. Because nature abhors a vacuum. When you empty your hands of what you've been clutching, the universe can finally fill them with something real. Your anxiety about a thing is the very force that repels it. Think about it. When you're desperate for money, you radiate lack. People feel it. Opportunities sense it. Even your own subconscious recoils from it. But when you're at peace with money, when you trust it's already on its way, you become magnetic to it. Your energy shifts from grasping to receiving. And there is a world of difference between those two states. One woman told me she had been trying to conceive for years. Years of disappointment, years of doctors, years of hoping and praying and aching. The weight of wanting had become unbearable. Finally, exhausted, she said to herself, "If it happens, wonderful. If not, I will find peace anyway. I release this." Within 2 months, she was pregnant. Now, some will say this was simply stress reduction, that her body finally relaxed. And perhaps that's the medical explanation. But I tell you, there's a spiritual mechanism at work here that goes deeper than cortisol levels. She stopped blocking her own good with the energy of desperation. She stopped declaring, "I don't have this, I lack this, I need this." And in that space of surrender, life could finally move through her. And here's where most people get stuck. They think surrender means giving up their desires. They think it means lowering their standards or settling for less. But that's not surrender at all. That's resignation. That's defeat. True surrender is something entirely different. It's the moment when you stop choking the life out of your good by gripping it so tightly nothing can breathe. It's when you plant the seed and then trust the soil to do its work. You don't dig up the seed every morning to check if it's growing, do you? You don't stand over it with anxiety, demanding results. You water it, you give it sunlight, and then you let the invisible intelligence of nature do what it knows how to do. Your desires work the same way. I once worked with a man who desperately wanted to start his own business. He had the vision, he had the passion. But every single day, he would wake up in a state of panic. How will I get the money? Where will the clients come from? What if I fail? He was so busy worrying about the how that he completely blocked the way. I told him, "Your job is not to figure out how. Your job is to claim it, see it as already done, and then follow the guidance that comes." He looked at me like I'd lost my mind. But finally, exhausted from his own resistance, he agreed to try. He stopped forcing. He stopped scheming. He began each day with a simple statement. Infinite intelligence knows the way. The perfect plan is now revealed to me. And within weeks, something shifted. A former colleague reached out with an unexpected opportunity. A chance conversation at a coffee shop led to his first client. Doors opened that he never even knew existed. That's how life works when you stop standing in your own way, when you surrender the burden of control and allow yourself to be guided. But here's the part nobody wants to hear. Surrender requires trust, and trust requires faith, and faith requires you to believe in something you cannot yet see with your physical eyes. This is where most people turn back. They turn back because waiting feels like inaction. Waiting feels passive. And we have been conditioned to believe that only visible effort counts. Only what we can measure, track, and post about has value. But spiritual law operates differently. Think of a seed planted in soil. After you place it, beneath the earth, there is nothing visible happening on the surface. No leaves, no stem, no flower. If you were to judge by appearances alone, you would say nothing is working. You might even dig it up to check if it's growing, and in doing so, you destroy the very process you are trying to accelerate. The seed knows what to do. It does not question itself. It does not wonder if it is worthy of becoming a tree. It simply responds to the intelligence within it, and in the darkness, hidden from view, it begins its transformation. Roots push downward. The shell softens. Life organizes itself according to divine order. You do not make the seed grow. You provide the conditions. You water it. You trust the soil. You allow the sun to do its work. And then you wait with faith, not with doubt. This is the spiritual equivalent of what you must do when you have planted a desire in the invisible. You do not force it. You do not manipulate circumstances. You do not lie awake at night trying to figure out every step. You speak your word. You claim your good. And then you live as though it is already done. You go about your day with peace and assurance, knowing that the universe is rearranging itself on your behalf. But here is where the test comes. Days pass, maybe weeks, and nothing on the surface appears to change. Your bank account looks the same. The relationship is still distant. The opportunity has not appeared. And the ego begins to whisper, "See, I told you this wouldn't work. You're wasting your time. You need to do something real." This is the moment that separates those who manifest from those who merely wish. Because doubt is not just a feeling. Doubt is a command. When you entertain doubt, you are giving instruction to the universe. You are saying, never mind what I asked for, I don't really believe it. Cancel that order. And so the creative process, which was already in motion, begins to reverse itself. This is why I tell my students, never look back. Never retrace your steps in consciousness. When you plant a seed in the ground, you do not dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You water it. You trust the process. You allow the natural law of growth to do its perfect work. Yet so many people plant their seed of desire, they speak their word, and then immediately begin to dig it up with doubt and fear. I wonder if it's working? Maybe I didn't say it right. What if nothing happens? Each of these thoughts is a hand reaching into the soil, disturbing the tender roots of your manifestation. I knew a woman who was demonstrating a home. She had a very clear picture of what she wanted. She spoke her word. She gave thanks that it was already hers in the invisible. And then nothing seemed to happen. Days went by. Weeks. She began to waver. One day she came to me and said, I think I should start looking at other options. Maybe my demonstration isn't coming. I said to her, the only thing standing between you and your home is your own impatience. Your word has gone forth. It cannot return void. But if you withdraw your faith now, you break the connection between the visible and invisible. She agreed to persist. She stopped looking for evidence. She stopped calculating timing. She simply held to her vision and gave thanks. 3 weeks later, the perfect home appeared exactly as she had pictured it, in every detail. But here's what she learned. The home had been preparing itself for her all along. The previous owners had decided to move. The price had adjusted. The timing had aligned. All of this was happening in the invisible, while she was tempted to doubt in the visible. Your good is always on its way to you. But faith is the bridge between the two worlds. And impatience is the fire that burns that bridge before you can cross it. So what does patience look like in practice? It means you plant the seed and you don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You water it. You trust the soil. You trust the sun. And you wait with joyful expectation, knowing that beneath the surface, life is doing its sacred work. I once knew a woman who wanted to manifest a new home. She had the vision. She spoke the words. She felt the feeling of living in that home. But every single day, she would scan the real estate listings with anxiety, checking. She would complain to her friends that nothing was showing up. She would question whether her affirmations were working. Do you see what she was doing? She was digging up the seed. And I said to her, darling, you're not trusting the process. You're trying to force the how and the when, and those are not your jobs. Your job is to hold the vision and stay open. Your job is to act when you are nudged and rest when you are not. The moment she stopped obsessing, the moment she released her grip and returned to her inner peace, the perfect house appeared. Not a day too soon, not a day too late, but exactly when she was ready to receive it. You see, the universe has a timing that is wiser than your understanding. What you call a delay is often divine preparation. You are being readied, the circumstances are being aligned, the people are being moved into place, and sometimes, what you thought you wanted is being upgraded into something far better than you could have imagined. But you've got to let go of the timeline. You've got to release the stranglehold of "I need it now" and replace it with the gentle knowing of "it is already done, and it will appear at the perfect time." This doesn't mean you sit idle. No, inspired action is part of the process. But there's a vast difference between inspired action and frantic doing. Inspired action flows, it feels right, it energizes you. Frantic doing exhausts you. It reeks of desperation, and desperation repels the very thing you're trying to attract. Instead, you must practice what I call divine inaction, not laziness in action. There is a profound difference. Divine inaction means you do what's yours to do, then you release it. You plant the seed, you water it, but you don't dig it up every hour to check if it's growing. You trust the soil. You trust the seasons. You trust the intelligence that turns an acorn into an oak without any frantic effort from you. I've watched people sabotage their demonstrations because they couldn't sit still in faith. They'd speak their word, claim they're good, then within hours they'd be back on the phone, scheming, manipulating, trying to force doors open that were meant to swing wide on their own. There was a woman who wanted to sell her house. She spoke the word. She knew it was done. But then fear crept in. She started lowering the price every week. She started accepting viewings at midnight. She started repainting rooms she'd already painted. All this doing, and the house sat there, month after month. Finally, I said to her, "Stop, just stop, clean the house once, price it fairly, and then go live your life as if it's already sold." She was terrified to stop trying, but she did it. She stopped obsessing. She stopped checking the listing every 5 minutes. She went about her days with peace. The house sold within 2 weeks. To the first person who saw it after she released her grip. You see, your frantic energy was blocking the channel. The universe was trying to send you your good, but you were standing in the doorway, arms flailing, blocking the delivery. When you rest in faith, you become a clear channel. You allow the divine circuit to complete itself. You stop interrupting the flow with your human efforts to control. This doesn't mean you become passive. It means you become receptive. You take inspired action, not desperate action. You move when the spirit moves you, not when fear whips you into motion. There's a rhythm to divine manifestation. It breathes. There's action, then rest. Effort, then surrender. Speaking the word, then being still and knowing. Most people only do the first half. They act until they collapse. They never allow the rest, the silence, the stillness, where the seed actually germinates and breaks through soil into sunlight. And here's what most people don't realize. The resting phase isn't passive. It's not laziness. It's not giving up. It's the most active phase of faith you'll ever experience. When you're in the silence, when you've planted your seed and you're waiting, you are actively holding the vision. You're not digging up the seed every 5 minutes to check if it's growing. You're not second-guessing yourself. You're not running around trying 10 different methods because you're panicking that nothing's happening. You're trusting the invisible process. I've watched people sabotage their own manifestations during this waiting period. They speak a word of power on Monday. By Wednesday, they're complaining to everyone who'll listen that nothing's changed. By Friday, they've completely reversed their decree and started affirming the opposite. They wonder why nothing works. The universe doesn't respond to your desperation. It responds to your conviction. And conviction means you hold steady even when external circumstances haven't shifted yet, especially when they haven't shifted yet. Let me give you a practical example. A woman came to me once, desperate for employment. She'd been out of work for months. Every door seemed closed. I taught her to speak her word. I am guided to my right work. My perfect opportunity now manifests. She did it. She felt the power of it. Then she went home. 3 days later, she called me in tears. "It's not working," she said. "I spoke my word like you said, but I'm still unemployed." "Nothing's changed," I asked her. "Have you been holding to your word, or have you been speaking against it?" Silence. Then she admitted. She'd been telling her sister it was hopeless. She'd been looking in the mirror saying, "Who would hire me anyway?" She'd been rehearsing failure in her mind 50 times a day. She spoke the word once. Then she spent 72 hours unspeaking it. So I told her what I'm telling you. Once you speak your word, guard it like a priceless jewel. Don't let anyone talk you out of it. Don't let your own doubt poison it. Keep the silence around it. Nurture it with faith, not fear. She did. She stopped talking about the problem and started living as if the solution was already on its way. She stopped defending her lack to everyone she met. 2 weeks later, an opportunity appeared out of nowhere. Someone from her past reached out. A position she didn't even know existed. Perfect pay, perfect hours, everything she needed. Was it magic? No, it was law. She aligned with the principle, held steady through the gestation period, and allowed the manifestation to complete itself. And here's what I need you to understand about this gestation period, because this is where most people abandon ship. The gestation period is the invisible stretch between declaration and manifestation. It's the gap where nothing times appears times to be happening, where the bank account still reads the same number, where the relationship still looks the same, where the job offer hasn't arrived. This is the testing ground of your faith. Most people treat this period like a waiting room, anxious, impatient, checking their watch every 5 minutes. But that's not what this period is for. The gestation period isn't passive. It's the most active spiritual work you'll ever do. During gestation, You're not waiting. Your time's gestating asterisk. You're holding the vibration. You're maintaining alignment. You're refusing to let appearances dictate your inner state. Think of a woman who's pregnant. She doesn't spend 9 months wringing her hands, wondering times if times the baby will come. She doesn't check every morning to see if she's still pregnant. She knows times the baby is forming. Even when she can't see it, she prepares. She eats well. She rests. She makes space. That's exactly what you do during the spiritual gestation period. You prepare the room before the guest arrives. You clear the space before the furniture is delivered. You act times as if times the thing is already on its way, because it is. I've watched people sabotage their own demonstrations right at the finish line because they couldn't hold steady during gestation. They declared they're good, felt the thrill of alignment, and then 3 days later, when nothing times visible times had changed, they panicked. They revised their declaration. They took back their word. They entertained doubt. And in doing so, they hit the reset button on the entire process. Listen, the universe doesn't respond to your words alone. It responds to your time-sustained conviction asterisk. Your demonstration isn't created by what you said once in a moment of inspiration. It's created by what you continue to hold as true when every circumstance screams otherwise. This is why I tell my students, guard your thoughts during gestation like a mother guards her womb. Don't let worry near it. Don't let doubt touch it. Don't let fear breathe on it. You wouldn't let someone punch a pregnant woman in the stomach, would you? Then don't let negative thinking assault the thing you're spiritually carrying. Now, here's where it gets practical. You want to know, how long does this take? How long until my demonstration shows up? And I'm going to tell you something that might frustrate you at first, but stick with me. It takes as long as it takes for you to become the person who has it. That's the real gestation period. Not 3 months, not 6 months, not a year. It takes as long as it takes for your consciousness to shift. I've seen demonstrations happen overnight. I've seen them take years. The difference wasn't God's timing. The difference was how quickly the person could change their inner conversation. You know, what creates instant manifestation? When your desire and your belief become identical. When there's no gap between what you want and what you know is yours. That woman with the apartment? She got it in 3 days because in those 3 days, she completely rewired her internal reality. She didn't spend those days hoping. She spent them knowing. But most of us? We're not ready for the thing we want because we're still energetically clutching the thing we have. You can't receive a new relationship while you're still rehearsing conversations with your ex. You can't receive abundance while you're still identifying as someone who struggles. You can't receive health while you're still introducing yourself by your diagnosis. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are being. So, if your demonstration hasn't shown up yet, ask yourself, am I being the person who has it, or am I being the person who wants it? Because wanting is a state of lack. Having is a state of completion. When you truly have something in consciousness, you stop asking when it's coming. You stop checking the mail every 5 minutes. You stop interrogating every synchronicity for signs. You just go about your life with this quiet, unshakable, knowing that it's done. That's the secret nobody tells you about faith. Real faith is boring. It's peaceful. It doesn't create drama or anxiety or obsessive checking. Real faith goes to work, makes dinner, calls a friend, lives fully in the present moment because it knows the future is already secured. And this is where most people get it completely backwards. They think non-attachment means you don't care, that you become some distant, emotionless robot floating through life saying, whatever happens, happens. No. Non-attachment doesn't mean you don't care deeply. It means you care so much that you're willing to let the universe deliver it in a way that's even better than you imagined. You're not indifferent. You're wildly committed to your desire, but equally committed to your peace. Here's how I explain it to my students. Imagine you've ordered the most exquisite meal at a magnificent restaurant. You know the chef is world-renowned. You've paid for it. The order is placed. Now, do you storm into the kitchen every 5 minutes demanding to see your meal? Do you question the chef's methods? Do you try to cook it yourself because you're worried they might forget? Of course not. You sit at your table. You enjoy the conversation. You trust that your meal is being prepared with expertise you don't possess. And when it arrives, it's more delicious than you could have made it yourself. That's non-attachment in action. You've placed your order with the universe. Now you sit at the table of life and actually live while your manifestation is being prepared behind the scenes. The resistance, the obsession, the constant checking, all of that is just you trying to break into the kitchen and micromanage God. And let me tell you something else that's absolutely crucial. Attachment creates resistance, and resistance slows everything down. Think of it like trying to receive a gift while your fists are clenched tight. The giver is standing right there, gift in hand, but they can't give it to you because your hands aren't open. When you're attached, desperate, controlling, your hands are clenched. When you're peaceful, trusting, living fully in the now, your hands are open, palms up, ready to receive. The universe isn't withholding from you. You're blocking yourself with the very intensity of your grip. I've seen it 1,000 times. The moment someone finally exhales, finally releases, finally says, "Okay, universe, I trust you," that's when everything shifts. Not because they stopped wanting it, but because they finally got out of their own way. So here's your practice. Every time you notice yourself spiraling into anxiety about your manifestation, pause. Take a day, breath, and ask yourself, am I trusting the process right now, or am I trying to control it? If you're trying to control it, you're in attachment. Come back to trust. Come back to the present moment. Come back to the knowing that it's already done. Your job isn't to make it happen. Your job is to allow it to happen. Big difference.